Maybe somewhere there's been a bit of worry that is hitting you. Just visualize it, because there is so much power you have when you can see things from your mind's eye. So much power. When the Bible says we should forget certain things, look towards the things that He has planned for you. It says, eyes have not seen, ears have not heard. See, there's a lot of therapeutic words from the Bible. And so that's why, when I'm able to express myself in a Christian gathering, I'm like, it makes my work easy. So I want you to just think of peace, that word peace. And for those of us that might still be struggling with getting to that serene space, I want you to raise your right hand and visualize that whatever it is that has troubled you this far is the size of a ball that can fit into your palms. Okay, so maybe we can all just do that. Something that has weighed on your heart, that has troubled you. Something that, what would I do about this? Right now, we don't need that stress. We're too burdened. And there's not much that we can do when we're burdened. So raise up your right hand and imagine that thing that has troubled you this far is in your palm, the size of a ball. I want you to squeeze it. Squeeze it, because you are in control. God has made you in control. So squeeze it. Squeeze it as hard as you can. Nothing is worth your peace. Nothing is worth your peace. In this moment, the Lord says, His peace He has given you. And so for those that might still be struggling, squeeze that. And gently drop your hands and toss it aside. Nothing is worth my peace. You can say that under your breath. Nothing is worth my peace. So right now, the rest of us, just place your hands on your laps. And you're going to take a very deep breath from your stomach. You will know that it's a deep breath. It's coming from your stomach. Breathe in. Gently in. Take it all in. As you're breathing in, you will feel your stomach get as if it's getting wider. Breathe in. Hold it gently. And quietly, slowly breathe out. Breathe out the stress. Breathe out the worry. Breathe out the worry. We're going to do that again. And I will count to 4. We'll breathe in on the count of 4. We'll hold it for 3. And we'll breathe out gently on the count of 6. I don't want you to rush it when you're breathing out, because I would explain how all this exercise also impacts greatly on your body system. So as I count, you take your breath slowly. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 1, 2. And breathe out gently. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to do that again. And make sure that you are relaxed, all right? Forget about what's going on around you. But if you're a mom of a small baby, it's okay. You're in a safe space, and you're here because God has something for you. And so everything He has for you, you would receive it. I want you to have that thought in your mind that the plans that God has for you, they are of good, and you would get them. He says that His plans for you are plans of good, never of evil, never of evil. So no matter what it is that might have affected you thus far, that's just as far as it can get. You are hidden in a place that is safe with your Maker. He knows, He sees your worries. And so, as you breathe in, you're breathing in the peace of the Lord. And as you breathe out the worry, the fear, the pain. And we take it again. Breathe in gently. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. And breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Gently open your eyes. Let's open our eyes. This is just the beginning, all right? And I wanted to set the atmosphere. I want you to be relaxed because there's so much, so many burdens that we as women we face. But today, God wants you to thrive. And so my topic is thriving as a woman of what? Because a woman who is far more than rubies is a woman that is in a place where she understands what God has given her. She's in a place of authority. She's in a place where she knows that her what is not what the physical eye can see. So somebody might look at you, might say to you, oh, you are nothing. But God has already told you in His word, you're far more than rubies. Okay, thriving as a woman of what? Now, let's talk about mental health, right? Because that is where Pastor Fumi would like me to base my tentacles on. When we hear mental health, tell me, just what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear mental health? Anybody? Be honest. When you hear mental health, what's the first thing? Okay, should I say in peace? Any other person? You can just, yes, ma'am. Unstable person. Thank you. Very honest definition. Yes, any other person? Yes, ma'am. Awesome. A crazy person on the street. Mental health. Any other definition? All right. So, unstable person, a crazy person on the street, and that is the idea that a lot of people have about mental health when they hear, oh, battery. All right. Okay. Please, who should I look at to help me with my slides? Who's helping me with slides? Sorry? Okay, so I need the slide so that they can flow with me, all right? When we talk about mental health, we're not talking about somebody or something that is unstable. We're looking at your total well-being, all right? The most acceptable definition of mental health by the World Health Organization, that's the WHO as we know it, is that mental health is a state of well-being. It's a state of well-being, and it enables people cope with the stresses of life, realize their goals, learn how to work well, and contribute to their community. So when we say, how's your mental health? We're not asking you if you're crazy. We're not asking you, oh, when last did you visit Arrow or Yaba left? Like everybody knows it. No, we're asking, how are you really doing? Because mental health deals with your ability to think and how you feel. All right? If I come and I say to you, I don't like you. I don't like how you look. You don't know me. It might not be a big deal. All right? But you might go later and say, why did this woman say this to me? Then if somebody else comes close to you, repeats that same thing. See, I don't like how you've been behaving, Joe. That's why I don't want to be friends with you anymore. What happens gradually? That thing begins to affect you, affect your mood, affect how you're able to function, and even affect how you relate with people. There are certain reactions that you will do And if you're able to trace, you will see that, that reaction was not from me. It was something that had happened. But then I am only reacting based on that memory, not because that's how you wanted to act. So mental health is an important aspect that we all need to be conscious about, because it can affect the quality of life that you have. Many of us want to have businesses. We want to take nations. But what happens if you knock, you try to get a sponsor, or you want to get a partner, and they say, oh, we don't want you. We don't want your proposal. We are not working with you. Are you going to retreat and say, it's not good enough? This is still your mental health. This is what having optimal mental health will do for you. Your ability to be resilient, to be a go-getter, to say, you know what? Rejection is not the end. Rejection does not mean that I'm not good enough. Your ability to keep pushing, to keep moving forward, that is what mental health is talking about. And then we come to mental wellness and emotional well-being. So mental health is the broader term. It encompasses our emotions, our behavior, our actions, our thoughts. We call it, these are the abstract part of us that we cannot really see it. All right, so it's not like physical health where you're having you're having cramps now. You're having cramps, and okay, they can do a scan to find out what's going on, why are you having cramps. But for mental health, except in severe cases, they can't do tests, but based on certain interpretations, based on certain patterns, we can say, all is not well mentally. All is not well mentally. And so for some people, they feel things more than others. So it's not until a person gets to that point where they have totally lost their senses before something is up with them. No. In fact, for many people, except those that are genetics, and maybe those that there was really nothing they could have done, for many people, especially for women, before it gets to that point where they become unstable or depressed, clinical depression. Now, I'm not talking about the one that everybody does say, I'm depressed. No. When we talk about clinical depression now, I'm saying especially when it is not idiopathic or when it is not genetics, all right, because there are different causative factors. There is a pattern that you can notice in yourself that if you are not careful, you are heading for self-destruction. And so we're going to look at some of those things this morning. So when somebody says, I need to take care of my mental health, it's not that, no, it is about, okay, this is my total being. This is my well-being. Because for me, you can have good health, all right? But when your spirit, when your soul is crushed, you can see somebody whole, but the person does not have the capacity to do anything. The person is sad, can't move, they can't do anything, because all is not well with their mental health. And so when we're talking about mental wellness, now the next thing I'm going to define for you, just take notes of these key points because I'll be using them. We're looking at the active process of you taking care of your mental health so that you can thrive and cope with the challenges of life. I read a research, in Nigeria here. I think that was it 2010 or so, where we gave the statistics that about 52 people, that was the first quarter of the year, 52 people had already committed suicide. And more than half of that number were young adults. Young adults. And from those young adults, what were some of the reasons that they found, for those that left suicide notes? It was, maybe somebody failed a very important examination. For those of us, I don't know if there's anybody that did medicine here, but I think that there's a particular examination, like at that foundation stage, either your 100 or 200 level, that once you fail it, either once or twice, forget about studying medicine again. You just have to move. I'm not sure, yes, so something like that. He failed that course, and he said, all my life, they have programmed me to be a doctor. I cannot see myself as anything else. If there's no way for me, let me just end it. That's what he put in his suicide note. He couldn't see any other way. And so he felt, you know what? It's time to check out of life. What was another person's reason from the suicide notes that were, analyzed? His own. His girl has broken his heart. Broke up with him. I'm not interested. I don't want. And for him, that relationship was the whole essence. Committed suicide. There was a recent, so maybe because it's my feed, I look at all these cases a lot. I don't know if any of us saw that news. A mother, she was doing a live video, but that was in the US. She was doing a live video. And she told her family that she was tired of life and she wanted to end it all. And so when you hear certain things from certain people, don't take it lightly. It can, because for a person that minute before they were able, thank God that they all survived it. And now, the law, the woman is facing homicide charges and stuff. But this person is not well. Most likely it's postpartum depression that is, affecting her. And that's why I tell, and me too, I've also been in that boat. And as much as possible, I beg people, for those that have just given birth, one of the best things that you can do for a new mom is to support her. Especially if her mom or she doesn't have an older person to be in the house taking care of that baby. Don't just come and be looking for what, this person did not give us anything. There's this thing they call it, Makara baby or something. They didn't give us this thing. You can visit them, get them soup, get them something. Because postpartum depression is a whole ball game on its own. Where it's like, yes, you're happy for the birth of your child, but the reality is dawning on you, the stress. So sometimes it's not in black or white. Some things are really difficult. And it's also as a result of how the brain is processing it. So mental wellness is your ability to function, to cope with life challenges. Challenges of life will come. It's either you have come out from one challenge, you are currently in one challenge, or there is a challenge waiting for you. Even if you say, in fact, by yourself, you will just be on your own. What about the economy? You cannot control that. There are so many factors you can't control. I know some people, they are hardworking. They have done their best. But it's like they take one step forward. Things are dragging them backwards. You try this policy here, taxation. It's like, what is it? I'm tired of life. And for them, some people, they reach out to think that they are not serious, but they've done their best. The question is, how will you cope when the unexpected thing happens to you? I tell people the best time to start taking care of your mental health is when there is nothing that you're worried about. Is when you are still in that stage where you understand yourself, where you are still sane, in quote, for lack of a better word. This is the best time. It's just like somebody preparing for war. It's not at that battlefield that they start creating the game plan. You become a casualty in minutes. They would have at least prepared, strategized. Okay, these are people that will go to the battlefront. This is how we are going to advance. There's statics. One of the most important things that you can do for yourself is to create a personal peace plan. How can I research myself? How do I know when I'm overwhelmed? Your body always gives you signals. It gives you signals. I'll tell us how to identify some. But mental wellness is talking about how can we cope with challenges. All right? Let me move forward. And emotional awareness. So mental wellness, we're looking at how we think. Emotional awareness, your ability to understand your emotions and express them in healthy ways. Regulate difficult feelings. So for example, something like sadness is an emotion. It's not necessarily a bad emotion. It can be a neutral emotion. But the question is, how you harness that sadness will determine how it will impact on you. So for example, you hear a bad news. It's okay to be sad. In fact, in certain cases, if there are certain emotions we don't see, something bad happens to you, or maybe somebody in your family, something bad happens, and you begin to smile. It's also a problem. So there is a place for every emotion. But then, that particular emotion, how do you regulate it in such a way that it doesn't overwhelm you? That is what you need to think about. That is what it means, taking care of your mental health. All right? Now, what happens when we don't pay attention to our mental health? What happens when we leave these things aside? There are so many things that we begin to experience in our bodies. One of it is burnout. Burnout, it feels like you have done a lot and you are just physically, emotionally exhausted. You will know it, you will feel it. And it can be in even situations where it seems like, but you have not done anything today. Or maybe you have worked so hard on a project and somehow the project scaled through, but you are not happy because you have mentally exerted yourself. You were not able to refresh, and then what you have worked for has come, but you cannot enjoy it. Your mind is still racing as if it's still working on that. That's what happens. Sometimes, if you find that you are zoning out, you are having difficulty concentrating, these are some signs that, you're not paying attention to your mental health, or you should pay attention to them. So, I'm talking about what happens when you don't pay attention to your mental health. Difficulty concentrating. You might be looking at something, reading, the next minute, you're wondering, where did my mind go? There's one day I was driving. I don't know how I drove. Yes, we have what we call rote memory, where somehow your body just remembers the road to something without you thinking about it. That's one of the good things about the memory. I had driven from my house. I was near my children's school, but I could not recollect. I was like, I have to calm down. Your mind will just zone out. And that's why we have had people that have had accident that way. One of my mentors, a driver, many years, trusted. It was that thing. Just zoned out. Pressures, worry. Nothing was in front. It was a stationary trailer. You need to be alert. So when you don't pay attention to your mental health, different things would rob you of the moment. So difficulty concentrating. Also, it will affect your relationships. It's either when some people come around you, you're always sad, you're always angry, always irritable. It gets to a point, you say, don't be making Jesus, so I cannot handle this. I'm sure maybe you might have known somebody, or even you, some relationships that you might have lost because of your behavior. Everything, you're always on the edge. And it's not because you are doing it deliberately. Your body is in a fight or flight mode where you are reacting instead of responding. That's what's happening when you are not paying attention to your mental health. Also, poor physical health. There are some things we call psychosomatic illnesses. There's a woman that they referred when I was doing my internship in UCH. They referred her to our clinic. And her test results were like, she had gone to different hospitals. They had done tests, recommendations, tests, nothing. Where is this pain coming from? Is it just a regular phantom pain? Until they sent her to the psychiatric clinic, with us, the team of, psychologists, the psychiatrists. And by the time the man was done with analyzing her and telling her certain things based on the history that we took, she began to cry. Because she was preoccupied with something that was causing that pain. Many times, there's a lot of emotional issues and emotional wounds and pains that would go into your physical health. And so that's why when you go for wellness clinics in the hospital, they'll tell you, don't worry. Avoid thinking excessively. There are certain things that you have to do, because the more you do them, it's putting a strain on your physical health. There's a lot of sicknesses and diseases that they would link to mental health stresses, things like worrying. So even something like clinical depression can also cause some physical health challenges. I'm not going to list them here. I don't want to make anyone scared. Excessive thinking. There's some diseases they will tell you, these diseases, go and work on. Lifestyle change is all you need. Then you'll begin to see a positive change in that particular thing. Let's look at us as women now. All right, let's look at the reality of I'm trying to find my slide. Okay. The reality of many women. I want us to see the picture of the reality of many women. Yeah, that one. All right. Now, this is us as women. Already, we have a whole lot stacked up against us. I won't say it in a negative way, but biologically, all right, there are certain things that a woman will feel more. And there are certain things that we are more predisposed to. One thing that women, by design, not because of anything we did, not because of one thing, is because of our biological wiring. One thing that we are predisposed to is mood swings. It's not about that, oh, this person caused it. No. Because your hormonal cycle on its own causes mental changes. And so, yes, there was this debate that was online where people were saying, oh, and this man is not being sensitive. How would you say this about women? That they should do this, that. And yes, some things people will say it, but it's not all debates that you should now be fighting about. You see, because of how I am and because of maybe the space I work in, there's so many things I will not engage in. Because in as much as it might look like, oh, you are solving something, in the long run, it is not helpful for you mentally. So for example now, let's say somebody that struggles with diabetes, right? You will not encourage the person to take foods that have sugars or foods that can be broken down into sugars. There's a way you will encourage them to create their diet. Also, there are certain people, based on the history that we have seen, we know that you are more likely to fall into frequent mood change. We know that you are more likely to fall into anxiety more than others. There are certain spaces you should not be in. And it's just because of your own wiring. Some other people can do it, they will be fine. But you, if you do it, you will spiral. And you will get to a point where it's like you're losing yourself. So when some people come, I tell them, see, I know it looks like you're not advocating, but would you rather not be alive and be able to do something than for you to die and then what is it you're fighting for is gone? Every one of us, we have our strong points. Whatever way we can support some people that are advocating for something, we will support them. But it's not every battle that you can fight. That's just the reality of life, if you're being honest. Except if maybe you don't mind being a martyr for that particular situation. It's okay. I'll point out some of those situations, but let's look at the reality of many women. All right. Now, firstly, we were born to a family. We are daughters. And depending on the family you come from, there might already be expectations that are placed on you as the first daughter. Yes, Ada. So I know some women that they had to pause on certain parts of their life because they were trying to carry their family. Because they felt they would be better to carry their family. Some of them were made to get married early, even though they didn't want to get married and don't want to marry early. Some of them had to start working early when they were still children, just because there was that expectation of a daughter. And somehow there's this idea that, okay, it's easier for daughters or women to get money more in certain spaces than guys. You're a sister, all right? You're carrying the burden of that elder sister, elder one to your siblings. And so that is on its own. Then now think about you being a friend, because we all need connection. If you don't have friends right now, I'm going to talk to you about, if you don't need a lot of friends, but you need people. You actually need people to talk to. God didn't make us to do life alone. There is a place for real human connection. If it's just one friend that you have that is a good friend, that is a friend that you should hold on to. Because beyond yourself, you need your outlet. There's something about us. We're wired for love. There is a hormone in us called oxytocin. When we spend time with people that we love, when we enjoy their company, we release that in our body and it makes us feel good. So it's also the same thing that, people that would abuse drugs will try to get. There are so many of these drugs or things that people try to use external things to get, but it's already available in our bodies, that by certain actions, we would experience that same high that they would feel. So you're a friend, and your friend will need you. You're a wife. that on its own can be a challenging, all right, can be a challenging phase to be in for those that, have gotten married. So, but there's also motherhood for those that might have given birth. You're a mom. That is what you are. You have children that are relying on you. I tell people, see, these mothers do not have the same 24 hours. Everybody has 24 hours, but we don't have 24 hours. By the time you have small children, you also have to share your 24 hours with them. Because even if you say you want to sleep, let me sleep 8, 9 hours. By the time they come and wake you, Mommy, I want to eat. Mommy, I want to wash my bum. I've pooped. I was telling my husband that it's like every time that somebody just wants to rest, that's when someone know, Mommy, I've pooped. No rest. Sometimes it's like you can't rest. Your heart is thinking, you're always racing. And then for us that have very small children, we're like, God, let this child not kill themselves in my house. Because it's like for every baby proofing you do, they look for 1,000,001 ways to kill themselves in the house. Going to touch something after you have done your best. So that on its own is draining. So please, if you have any mother around you that maybe has annoyed you or did not show up for something, please forgive them. I'm apologizing to mothers in advance. This period of my life, there are certain sessions, some sessions, it's not even all sessions I can take. I refer them to my colleagues because I can't just do it. There's a particular client, I had to beg and say, please, ma, I'm not sure I can work with you. Because the only time you're available is in the night. And once my nanny leaves, then my nanny was still coming and going. Once she leaves 5, I'm left with I cannot be explaining that to my clients. So I just, I told the person that referred her, please tell me, beg her, I'm not available for this time. Please, the woman try. I said, I'll forward her results to you. I'm not available for this time because it's not working for me. Yes, in time past, I can do that session with maybe somebody in diaspora because of time zone. The people now that I handle for those time zones, they know, and I've told them, if I'm going to work with you this period, at least your 4 p.m., my 4 p.m. is like about your, depending on the time zone, for some of them, is there maybe 9? Are you available then? Or 10? Are you available? If you're not available, it's fine. Life is not, if I lose that money, fine. God will bring the money somewhere else. But my peace of mind is most important than that. Because how would you feel if you pay for a session and you don't get quality? You not say therapy did not work. No. If there's anything I hate in this life, I don't like people to drag me for anything. I've actually refunded, I think in the course of my career, I've refunded like 2 people. Even though for one person, we have done like 2 sessions. But when I saw something, I said, please, let me just refund you. For peace of mind for both of us. Because now it's one thing, so when people talk about therapy, they think that, you take over a person's mind, you're doing hypnosis. It's more than, we don't do hypnosis. And we don't even do therapy on somebody that is not able to be in the session. So for example, in a case where a person is totally like insane, all right, that person does not need therapy then. That's why we would work with the psychiatrist to get that person stable so that what you're doing would work. Because it is not magic. It is scientific, and there's certain ways that we have to go through. Yes, we are flexible, but there are certain things. So if that person's own participation is not there, I cannot go into your mind. That's manipulation. That's dark psychology. I cannot go into your mind and force you beyond your will. We will still respect your will. So it's what you say that you want to do. Fine. If I give you a task and you don't do it, I will try to help you see why this is beneficial for you, but I cannot force you to do those tasks. Because if you don't do those tasks, they are good for your well-being in the long run. And you're still feeling that same way. What do you want me to do? So I gave you a task. I've listened. I give you a task. You don't do it. What do you want me to do? What you're saying that you want me to do magic, I should maybe hypnotize you to obedience. If I do that, then you're no more a human being. God gave every one of us free will. Gave us free will to choose. So that's a line that a trained therapist or psychologist will not cross. There are people that there's a place for hypnosis, that's different. But there are people that also manipulate people. All right, so I was talking about motherhood. Right, so that's the reality of many moms. All right, the odds are stacked against us. And so it's like, Everything is hitting you. And then you're either an in-law, all right, if you have in-laws, or you're a boss. Irrespective, you're a boss, you're thinking about your employees. How would you, customer satisfaction, customer retention, things like that, a lot of things. Let me just skip. I'm looking at my time. But God did not create us to live in that mode of just surviving. John 1 verse 2 says, "Beloved, I wish that you may prosper in all things and be in health, even as your soul prospers." So God is concerned about your total well-being, your spirit, your soul, and your body. There's this saying that man is a spirit who has a soul and lives in a body. So there are the three parts of us, all right, the spirit, soul, and body. We are one, but there are different functions that each has. Your soul, that is the part that deals with the mental realm, your emotions, your will, your behavior. Your spirit is the part that is in tune with God. This is the part that doesn't die. This is the one that, when you leave this earth, goes to get judgment. And then the body is the earthly one, this one that is here. Without this body, none of us can function on this earth. When the Bible says, "What is man that you are mindful of him? You made him a little lower than the angels." Angels, yeah, they're powerful beings, but they do not have the right to be on this body, in this earth, because they don't have this body. And so this body, we have to take care of it, because the body is a reflection of what is in your soul or what you feed your spirit with. But amongst the three, the most powerful is your spirit. This is the most powerful. Because when your spirit is energized, that is the part that is in tune with your maker, and you have charged yourself from the inside out, you are able to motivate yourself despite situation. What is it, that David saw or knew about God? That when he went out to battle, I don't know if we know that story. I can't remember where it's coming from right now, but I'll give us the story. So that he went for battle, and by the time him and his men had come back, all their wives had been killed. And in that point, the men were angry with David. They said, they were thinking of killing him, of stoning him. That was what they were discussing. But then the Bible says David encouraged himself in the Lord. The psalmist says, "I will lift up my eyes to the hills. From where comes my help? My help comes from the Lord." This is your advantage as a Christian. And there is this thing out there now that, many Christians are suffering from some of these things. Yes, we're going to suffer because we are not using the power that we have. There is a spirit power that I believe is in a realm above certain things. We are not there yet. I don't know if our body would ever get to that place. It's a realm where there is no sickness, where there is no disease. That's one of the things that we're looking forward to after this earth, when we go back to be with our Maker. Paul says that, "I reckon that the suffering of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be received, which shall be revealed." When you have this mindset, there are certain things that can weigh you down. You're looking at it, but then you know that you are only just having an earthly experience. This is not the totality of you. It helps you to shake off that thing. So if somebody were to live the Christian life the way God designed it, there are certain things that they will not battle with. But not everybody has that knowledge. And so taking care of your soul is also very important. I'm talking about the Proverbs 31 woman, and we say that she's far worth more than rubies. When I was younger, I used to think that being just a woman, a wife, a virtuous woman was all about doing everything. Because, that's what I saw my mom do. My mom didn't work. She left her. In fact, my dad didn't let her work. So you think about submission, 100%. Oh, you submit. Whatever your husband says, you do. Even if that is against the purpose that God has called you, you do it. And somehow I felt, well, that's what it is. And do you know that I used to believe that people that had mates were just lazy. Oh God. Every day I say, God, forgive me. How was I thinking that way? Now I have to. I cannot kill myself. I cannot kill myself. Oh, I was telling somebody recently, I said, I didn't know how much I hated chores until I would spend time in the kitchen. And it's like from 6 to 10, you're in the kitchen, cooking, washing. And it's like almost every day. So that's why when my nanny would leave by 5, people are saying, but you have a nanny that comes and goes. It's not enough, because from that 5 to the next morning, different things. Somebody has eat, somebody wants to eat, somebody wants this, somebody wants. It's too much stress. So women were battling so many things. We're living in what we call survival mode. Now, the survival mode and the survival instincts that we have is a natural instinct that is supposed to be there to prevent you from danger, protect you when attack is coming. So, for example, if a snake were to come inside here now, many of us will either run or somebody will be looking for a stick to kill it. So it's the fight or, flight mechanism in our bodies that will kick in. But because of how we are processing life, we're living in a stage where we're always at alert, even when there is no danger. And the signal we're sending to our body produces more cortisol. Cortisol is the stress hormone. There is a place for cortisol. You need it. When you face difficult situations, that is what makes you bold and brave and fearless. They call it adrenaline rush. Because when you see danger or somebody comes to challenge you in your territory, and it's also something you need in the place of prayer, you will stand and defend. But there's a place for that, and then it goes. But you're not supposed to live like that 100% every day without resting. There's what we call the trauma responses, but we don't need that. So that's basically the adrenaline system where your body is at alert. But right now, we call it 5 F's of trauma response. But for some people, because that thing is so much activated, right now, they are not able to, it's not even working properly. So even when there is nothing, different things are bombarding them. So what are some of these signs that you might be mentally overloading yourself? All right, so I'll start with emotional signs. Emotional signs. And if you're experiencing any of these signs, I'll beg you to please get somebody to talk to. Get someone to talk to. You find yourself crying easily. Any small thing. Not any small thing. You've teared up. You're very emotional. It's not how it should be that you just cry. Or you are excessively irritable. Something that wouldn't have gotten you angry before, somebody does it to you. What's wrong with you? Stop it. Or to your children. Oh, God help me. Even me that is in this field, every day, God is helping me. Because He's wanting to know. He's wanting to be able to practice it. Some days I have to stand in my mirror and begin self-therapy and tell myself, oh yeah, these are your children. You wanted them. They are not the enemy. Calm down. Calm down. They are just children. They are learning. This is the stage of development. Their attachment is forming. I'm talking to myself. Because I don't want to be the one responsible for trauma. From ages 0 to 6, the identity of a child is formed. So if you're a mother, I beg you, that is the critical window for your child. Because it's whatever you put in them at that stage. That is how they will view the world. And that's why you hear things like some people have secured attachment, anxious attachment, avoidant attachment, disorganized. That attachment style is how the child comes to view relationship. So for some people, you will notice that, for them, they find it hard to trust. It was programmed from the attachment. So this is a plea to mothers to eventually, hopefully, you and your spouse can do it together. But that is a critical window of your child's life. You have to be present. It's not like I'm saying that for those of us that have to work, you leave your work. But when we're talking about being present for your children, it's not like you must be there. You can be there 24/7, but you don't impact anything. My mom was a full-time housewife, but we have our differences now. We don't see eye to eye on certain things. I just honor her. And there are certain things that I have told her, and she knows. I've told her, based on this, this is not emotional healing. That's the trauma that I've come from. Is God, that has helped me. Now, like I'm saying, critical window, attachment of your child. This is very important because it is what you are programming in them. So they are looking to you for safety. A child is born with just 2 fears from research. Fear of loud noises. If you hit something now, I saw a baby, you see the baby will jerk. And fear of falling. Every other thing is a learned fear. I saw a video where babies were, toddlers were holding snakes. They were going to chase snake. That's because the child doesn't know danger. But it is by learning, by looking, by observation, the child learns danger. And so for us, because of how we have come to view the world now, we are living as a reflection of our wiring. So your programming was as a result of nurture, based on your environment, what you saw. And it has affected your relationship. So if you're also finding it hard to just trust, you're always suspicious. Now it's good to be careful, but being overly suspicious of everybody, even when this person has showed you that they love you and they care for you, despite what you have or what they can get from you. But you cannot have peace. You're always suspicious of them. It is a cry for help. Your body is telling you, no, you can't. You have to go and heal your inner child. Because you would go through life like that, and you will also pass that thing on to your. That's what we now call generational trauma. So you see that it's not just something that is mystical. There are certain things that we can actually explain. Certain habits will be repeated in children because children learn more by observation. So it's based on what they see done most that they would repeat. So you can be talking to them. Why is it that you can tell them, leave there, leave there? But by the time you go, carry their hand. Or by the time you stand up to go somewhere, they will follow you. Because they observe. Shout, leave there, go away. They are not there. Stand up and leave that room. They will follow you. They have come to cling to you. They've come to attach well to you. Constant worry. I'm giving us the emotional signs now that you might be dealing with mental overload. You need help. Constant worry. What is it that is making you worry? One of the signs of constant worry is that you find it hard to sleep. As you try to sleep, something pops up in your head. Now, having those irrational thoughts is not the bad thing. The bad thing is engaging with those thoughts. So it's one thing for those thoughts come from anywhere. We can't do anything about it. Different thoughts will be coming. The question is, how do you engage that thought? How do you detach and disengage that particular thought? That is the action steps that we are going to look at. So feeling overwhelmed, every time you're just always, there's this kind of heaviness. Bible says a crushed and broken spirit, who can bear this heaviness that's always on you? And some people, you can feel it. For some of us, we can know when somebody is just carrying this burden of heaviness on them. For some people, mood swings. Now, like I said, as a woman already, there's one thing that we're more prone to, mood swings. But in a case where it is now a cause for alarm is, despite your menstrual cycle, because your mood swing follows your menstrual cycle. So you are in your luteal stage and you are still on the edge. Why? So that's a cry for help. You shouldn't be having constant mood swing that people don't even know. If I talk to this person, what kind of version of them would I see? Today you are all loving, you're all playing, you're excited. The next minute you're running away. That is a sign that you need to get help or calm down or reset yourself. Let's look at mental signs quickly. I'm conscious of my time. Racing thoughts. Like I said, irrational thoughts. So different thoughts are always coming to your head, different things everywhere. Sometimes you're overthinking, you're forgetting things. Forgetfulness. You thought about something and then you can't just seem to remember. It seems like, what's going on? I can't remember. And then somebody tries to show you, this is what happened. We have done this. Inability to make decision, indecisiveness. It's hard for you to just choose. It's also a function of your faculty. There's a part of us that's responsible for higher reasoning, the prefrontal cortex. So when we are overloaded with our emotions, all right, the signal that the brain is receiving, it can't think, it can't process. Constant self-criticism. You're always criticizing yourself, feeling not good enough. You can never do it well. And then always mentally exhausted. So there's one thing to be physically fatigued. There's also another thing to be mentally exhausted. You have everything at your disposal. Somebody asked me, if all the things that you say are stressors are taken away from you, are you going to function well? Because somebody said, okay, I remember when I was still dealing with this overwhelm of motherhood. Okay, fine, we are going to come at this time. We will do this one. We are going to do this one. Everything, what is still troubling you? So sometimes it's not the situation that we think is responsible for us being crippled from doing what we're supposed to do. It is the mind, the thoughts, the brain. We're just mentally exhausted. You look at it, you can't think, you can't find solutions. You don't even want to. Let's look at physiological signs, physical signs, and medical signs. One, headaches, constant headaches that you can't explain. They've done different tests, they don't know. Headaches are one major sign that, we need to check something. Especially when it's not traced to anything physical. For some people, insomnia, inability to sleep, or inability to sleep for long. So you sleep, the next 1 hour, you've woken. Epileptic sleep. Your body needs to reset. When we work, we need at least 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep for your body to repair itself. And it's not just only muscle repairs that happen. Mental reset, mental repair also happens. Your brain needs to be at rest. Muscle tension. For some people, you can literally see there are certain parts that would be, tensed. And if they were to touch it. So that's why there's certain things that people will do and they're able to tell, not because they can read your mind, but they can see signs. For some people, they're always sick, always sick. There was a pediatrician referred a client to me. Every time the child is sick, she said, please go and see this person. Because it's not even the work of psychiatry. It's not a psychiatry issue now. Just go and see this person. What is that issue? Until we started dealing with those issues that child, 12-year-old, before that child was able to, the sicknesses was leaving. My daughter, she's 6 now. And there was a time, every morning when it's time to go to school, she just says, my stomach is paining me, my stomach is paining me. What's going on? We went to hospital, they did tests, they did scan, different things. Even X-ray, what is causing it? They now said, is it that this girl don't like going to school? When we now saw another pediatrician, because even me at that point, I was not thinking far that, what is stressing this small girl? Until when, I think it was a particular teacher that was making her scared. So whenever she thinks about school, because your body knows what to do. So that was the body's own, she cannot explain it. But that was the body's defense mechanism that set in. Until we dealt with that thing before that stomach pain. Because every morning, you should be fine on the night. As it's time to go to school like this, Mommy, my stomach is paining. We have prepared these different things until that thing was sorted out. So frequent sickness, certain things can cause it. There was one time I was so stressed. I had gotten into a confrontation I didn't know that I could get into. Even with all my emotional intelligence. But that confrontation, I had to, because I think enough was enough. And I wanted to do it in the most respectful way. But the person was not receiving it that way. And so I knew I was not in control of that. So I just had to emphasize and stand my ground on what I was saying. After that confrontation, my bowel moved. There are some things that, when you're thinking about something, you will just notice that you do not eat anything and you start having running stomach. All these things are linked together. My bowel just became uneasy. And me that had not eaten anything, I just had to. So some of these things will show you signs that, all is not well. Then excess palpitations, your heart is racing, beating. Yeah, it's beating. You didn't do exercise. You did not, go anywhere. Your heart is just beating unnecessarily fast. Or you are having sweaty palms. Or tremors. Or you just see situations, you just start shaking when you think of certain things. Back then when I worked in a school, these are some of the things that we'll deal with. Your parents have money, what is the problem? What's going on? Some of it is just when they think about the drama at home. People are going through things, so people are going through things. Teenagers are going through things. One teenager said to me one time, they were preparing for exam. I don't want to pass this exam. Why? Why are you not reading? He said, what's the point of reading? If I read, I will not do well. And then my mom has told me that this one is better than me. So what's the point? And that's the worry the child is carrying. That is, the child has already put that thing that you can never rise above certain people. So I beg us also, we are life givers as parents. If God has placed a child in your hands, please do your very best to speak life into that child. They are recording things. The mind remembers. That's the truth. So they might forget, but there are certain things that they hear is being moved into their subconscious. And so what happens is they begin to respond or react based on certain triggers that might be reminding them of that thing. They might not know. It's when we now start doing deep work that we are getting to the root cause. Oh, this is where this thing was birthed in you. This is where that seed was conceived. So I beg us, please, parents. I know it's not easy parenting a child, but we owe it to them. We want to raise a generation of people that don't need to heal from trauma. I know some things we can't avoid, but there are many things, as much as you can do, speak life. If you look at people, some adults that are able to do things more than some other people, you would see that it's as a result of the parenting code or the way the parents raise them. I've studied certain people. If I mention some of their names, you would know. Based on the interviews they have spoken about, my mommy, my daddy. When they talk about their parents, one of the things you would see from a child that has very intentional parents is confidence. Is that I can do it, not timidity. And being intentional is not by using fear. Sit down here, do this. No. Yes, we can discipline, but there's also what we call fear-based compliance, where it looks like your child is agreeable, is good. But that child, is just out of fear. I was talking to a group of parents, and one of the issues raised was, why is it that some children from very good homes would leave that home, and the next sense of freedom that they get, they have gone haywire? And you're like, is it that this child was pretending? No. You succumb that child. You used fear to keep that child obedient. And so when the child saw freedom, they took it. And so they went wild. What am I talking about parenting? Maybe somebody needs to hear this. There's a particular parent, when we walked in I hope I'm not online. I hope people are not listening to me. I don't know if I should say, let me leave it. But, okay, let me leave that before somebody would. But I can tell you stories about how your parenting is shaping your child. But just know that God has placed a gift in your hand that you should treat. And if you don't know what to do, get knowledge, get support. You cannot do life alone. I always emphasize, you need that support. God will help us in Jesus' name. Okay, let me just quickly rush to behavioral science because I still want to go through one more exercise and call it a day. All right, so some behavioral science we'll see, actually from people that we also, because it's one thing for you to be able to identify some signs in yourself and take precaution. But then it's also one thing for you to be able to see when somebody is silently crying for help. Some people might not speak out, but they're just looking for somebody that would notice them. All right. One of it is withdrawing from people. You just notice that every time this person is always giving an excuse. I'm not available. And it's not like there's really anything. But somehow the excuses don't make sense. Or it doesn't hold much water because you're like, okay, what about if we help you do this? And somehow they're still saying no. Once a person starts gradually withdrawing, and it's not like they're using that time of solace for self-development or anything, I think you should pay attention. Pay attention to it. All right. Especially if you also have teenage children, pay attention to that. A lot of things we've been able to avoid from that. Snapping at loved ones, you just find yourself excessively, you're always snapping at them. So we're looking at behavior, procrastinating. So you have things to do, but you keep putting them aside because the thought of it is giving you mental overload. It's just making you feel mental fatigue, avoiding responsibility, overworking, excessive social media scrolling. How is it that a person can be very tired, but they're still scrolling? Because somehow they don't want to stay with their thoughts because they feel that, oh, if I close my eyes, these thoughts come. I can't sleep. I can't do anything. All right. Then using food, shopping, business to escape feelings. Now it's good to go shopping. It's good to eat. But I'm not one of those people that will subscribe or will encourage people you have comfort foods. Because I know how important diet is to your well-being. So yes, you indulge your craving, but for how long? One thing about sugar can be very addictive. So you might think that, oh, yeah, it's benefiting you, but in the long run, it's doing something else. All right. So I myself, it's not one of the things that I encourage people to do. Oh, just go and eat and take sugar, take junk. There's a place for that when everything is fine, all right, but not in certain cases. All right. So let us do a self-audit right now. Which of these, and I know that it might be more, but which of these is stealing your peace? What is it that makes you worry the most? Worry on its own. Some people just worry for no reason. They just worry for the sake of worrying. Wow, we've seen that. We can't point to anything. All right. So, how can we be able to take care of ourselves? How can we identify certain things, or how can you just take care of yourself when you are feeling maybe these signs, or when you notice, I think I need to take a step back. I think things are quite overwhelming for me, all right? So let us just remember this acronym, all right? So like I'll say, pause. You make better decisions when you are able to step out of yourself, all right, and notice what is going on with you. So the first thing is to notice, how is my body feeling? So you know some of the signs. When it feels like something is off or whatever, pause. How am I feeling? Am I feeling tired, stressed? All right, where is this thing coming from? So there is something they call HOT model. They use that in PPD, postpartum clinic and all that. And it talks about, okay, am I feeling this way because I'm hungry? Am I feeling this way because I'm angry? Am I feeling this way because I'm lonely or tired? Because sometimes the way we're feeling is because of something else. So ask yourself, how am I feeling at this moment? Being able to name your emotions is a step to finding a solution to it. Sometimes things might seem overwhelming, but that's why some people will recommend journaling. Because when you're able to put pen to paper, the problem might not now be as gigantic as it seems. So you pause. Okay, what is it that I'm feeling? All right. How is my body feeling? What signal is it giving me? So this is in a case for people that want to do self-diagnosis and self-help. There's a place for self-help too. Self-help works well when you are resilient, all right? When you also have a history of not having things weigh you down. So self-help might work, but for some other people, they can't do self-help. They would say, okay, you work with someone. The goal of every therapeutic session is to get you to a place of independence. Any good therapist, except it's coaching, because there's a difference between coaching and therapy. Every good therapeutic session is leading to a goal. There's a goal, and once that thing is achieved, then you discontinue it, because we want the person not to be dependent on us, but to gain independence. And then your therapist will know when that time has come. So if you just notice that there's no headway, I'm not making progress, so progress is, it can be very small, but it's there. And it's like we're not working towards something after years. What's the goal? That's something. Maybe you might need to see somebody. Maybe the approach they're using is not working. You want to try something else. But there's always that goal. Coaching is more long-term. You can coach somebody for 10 years. It's okay. Because life keeps changing. Life keeps evolving. So there's some people, they'll say, okay, no, we don't want therapy, just coaching. All right, and I'll do my assessment. Okay, are you at that stage where you're able to? Fine, we can do coaching. We'll coach you, I work with you towards certain things, and then I'm serving as a mentor. So that's all different. So how is your body feeling? Then A, affect. What are you feeling? So that is talking about your mood. The physical, the P, is talking about the physical, the maybe visible signs that you're seeing. Is it from hunger? Is it from all those things, the hot that I've mentioned? Remember the hunger, angry, lonely, tired, and other things that might be giving you that signal. Is it from maybe sickness, just being able to notice? Then your affect is, okay, what is it that I'm feeling? you find out that you're just overwhelmed. Okay, this overwhelm, is it sadness? Or is it indecisiveness? You want to be able to question. All right, you're asking the question. One of the things that we do a lot in therapy, for anybody that's gone through that, is we're asking questions. Because it's you that's going to come up with that solution. We're only guiding you. We only know how to ask the right question and give you the right tools to use towards those questions. And then you, it's okay, I did not rearrange this well. So you, under pressure, what is weighing me? What is that thing that is weighing me? So now this is where you're now able to totally name it. So you've noticed, okay, I'm feeling headache, I'm feeling angry. But what is it that is weighing me? The fact that I am not able to get my tasks done. The fact that I'm not able to get a job even after submitting my CV. So you're able to do that, all right? So that's how you are able to address this by yourself. And then support. Okay, so now I've identified this. Who can help me with this load? So if it's a clarity problem that has made you feel this way, you want to reach out to somebody in that field to help you. If it's just only emotional, you just don't know, then you want to reach out. So there are different supports that you would need for different situations. Being able to identify it would help, all right? So who can help me in this particular situation? And also, how can I, E is energy, how can I get my energy up? So I'm feeling down, all right? Based on, let's say it's a job that I've tried, I've not been able to get. I noticed that I'm feeling sad. And that has affected my countenance, affected the way I'm able to relate with people. Who can support me? I need to talk to my mentor. Maybe I'm not doing something well, all right? And then we look at it again. What can help me in this moment? What can replenish me? So mentor can give me a task. Or for me, I might need to maybe go read something again. Or it can be, okay, let me close this, go jogging, take a walk, replenish my energy. All right? Very important. But there are four simple ways or four simple things that, I would always recommend for people that if you want to stay in that place of optimal health, then this is something that if you can make it a habit, you will just notice that the quality of your life would improve. It will get better. One is deep breathing. I cannot overemphasize the importance of deep breathing. Now, when we say breathe in and out, we are not just saying it because we're trying to get attention. Deep breathing resets your system, your nervous system. Now, basically, what is our nervous system? Those of us that did biology, your nervous system is responsible for, so the nervous system contains your brain and spinal cord, and then we have the central nervous system, peripheral nervous system. And this is basically how your body operates. It's in charge and is responsible for how your body operates. So they send signals. So there are different parts of the nervous system that will send signals to different parts. So without your nervous system, we cannot function because we are a whole being. And so think about it like a totally organized like computer. Everything has a place. Everything has a place. Your brain is processing the signals it's receiving and is sending information. So there are certain information your brain is getting. Okay, she's in a flight or fight mood. She needs more energy. So because you need more energy, your heart will start pumping fast, walking fast. So this is information. But when you now say breathe in and out, you are telling your body that, okay, there is no danger here, so let me calm down. At that point, the flight or fight system relaxes. It calms down, and other things are now at that level of ease. So think about it like, attention or alert, attack. So that's just basically the whole science of how deep breathing actually works. To tell your body there's no danger. So that's what it's doing. There is no danger. Calm down. Calm down. So deep breathing can both be automatic. Automatic in the case of there is trouble, there is stress. Your body, because your body is designed to protect you. By nature, we can preserve ourselves. Your body knows what to do in certain cases. But it can also be voluntary, where you by yourself, you ignite certain things. Okay. That's why you see some people who go use drugs to get the same high that your body can also produce. It's not necessary. All right, so um, some other positive habits that we can also take note of: sleeping well, reducing stress, visualization. There's a whole lot. I cannot go into the details of each one, but let me talk about the power of visualization now as a tool to maintain optimal calm. Now, when we say visualization, we're not just saying that you should just have an image in your head, but what you're doing is you are creating a positive picture of what or the state you would rather be in. Now, there are certain things now, if I do, I can get you tensed up because the way your brain processes, your brain cannot tell what is happening real or not. Your brain will only interpret the signal. If I just say, hey, there's a snake, somebody might jump because even though there's no snake, your brain heard that loud this thing and it went into action. Hey, what's going on? There's no snake. So we can activate it by ourselves. There are certain things we can activate. So when we are visualizing, we are creating that thing as if it is real, and then we are seeing it. So you visualize something positive, your body releases the hormones that you need. So for example, for somebody that might be clinically depressed now, yeah, not, there's depression as just irregular now. Clinically depressed, they'll tell you the person is low on serotonin. And what the drugs that they will give you will do is to try to increase your serotonin production. So serotonin is a neurochemical in the brain that is responsible for your mood. It's a mood, it's a mood chemical. It's responsible for your mood, how you feel. So because that is low, it's trying to get it up. But then you can also stay and visualize something, and that thing makes you happy. There's a warmth feeling, a feel-good way that you now begin to experience it as if it was real. Oh, there was this, was it BBC or something? There was this report that they did where fake, people were asking, how is it that these women, they thought that they were pregnant, but they were not pregnant, really? I don't know if I used to read too much. Did anybody read recently of the fake pregnancy scam where women, they will go to delivery houses, they will tell them, oh, don't go to regular hospital because if you do scan, they cannot see the baby. You had a hair. The question is, what is it that made those women feel that it was real? It's a mind game. If I want to be a side kid now, I will make money because there are certain things I will tell you that will seem so real, like I can see into the future or into your life, but I cannot. I cannot. It's all psychology, and it's dark psychology, which we're not supposed to. Anyway, that is by the way. All right. So you're able to visualize that thing and cause the reaction as if it's happening physically. And so you're triggering your brain. Okay, make more of that particular hormone. So when we do things like we're exercising, all right, what is happening there? Or we achieve something. Let's say you achieve something and you're celebrated. So when you celebrate people, you send a burst of dopamine. Dopamine is the hormone for motivation. They're excited, happy. So you send that burst of dopamine in them and they feel like they're on top of the world. People that are low on motivation, it seems that they cannot get things done. Many times, that's the hormone that is lacking. So when you do things like you exercise, or you attend the same, so when you attend conferences and you attend seminars, that is within the span of 72 hours, put action steps down and start up. Because if you don't, you will lose that ginger, that you felt. So that's why you hear things like, hey, motivation, it's just motivational talk. There's a place for motivational talk. It's to get you excited. But the thing about motivation is that it cannot keep you excited. It's to get you pumped up to take action. So we will tell you things like exercise. Exercise makes you feel like you're on top of the world because you can do anything. Oh, you are replenishing your neurochemicals. And in that moment, you feel excited. You can do things. So when you feel a surge of energy, when you attend programs, conferences, schools, things, if you don't do anything within a short window, what will happen is that you will forget. And then it will just feel like nothing is working. So with that, when you are charged up from a conference, with that ginger, go and take action. If not, you will notice that there's a difference with people that take action immediately and those that don't. Taking action does not mean that it will be successful. You will take that action, but even if you do not succeed, you would have seen places where you should go and work on it again. So certain things are there, and there's a way God has designed certain things that if we can just follow these principles, we will have a good quality of life. It might not be 100% rosy, but it will be better than being in a state of despair. So that is it about visualization. So you think about that thing, or think about, let's say, there's something that you are working towards, and you've not gotten it. You want to constantly see yourself achieving that thing. It's not the thought that will push you to action, but the feeling and the happiness of achieving that thing that makes you get on your toes to take action and to start doing things. Have hobbies. For parents that complain to me about their children, when you work with children and teenagers, there are so many things that you can see that, if only adults can continue to do. One of the things, if you have a teenager that is always angry, get them a hobby. And not just a random hobby, but a controlled one where they can exert energy. Some of us need to burn energy. Or if you don't have a hobby, please find one. Have a hobby. You're not designed to just live a regimented life or a sedentary life. No. Have a hobby, something that gets you active. Go outside, let the sun touch you. Early morning sun. Let the sun touch you. See the sky. See the brightness. Admire nature. There's one song I really loved. I think that guy got this thing. What's his name? Louis Armstrong. I see skies. Glass of wine. In as much as the world might look like, things are not the way it is, but this is how God made this world. He's how God made the earth. Admire the beauty. I know, right now, our country, there's nothing. If you think about what's happening, there's nothing. Well, a way you can, at least some things are constant. When you think about life and birth, that's just a miracle that how was something so small begins to grow in you, kicking you. That thing changes you. You are vomiting, you are doing this, and that thing comes out of your body, becomes a whole human being. And that person grows. If there's nothing else to make you happy, just go or look at documentaries about life, the birth of a child, how the child grows. It will do something in you. It would give you something to make you appreciate God and the earth. All right? So, have a hobby. Find something that you do that is enjoying. If it's reading, and it might not be a motivational book, because that book might sometimes stress you. All right? Just read something fun. Comedy. Watch something that gets you happy, gets you excited. And once you do that, go now do something else that you want to do. All right? Prioritize self-development. Now, when you have the habit of developing yourself all the time, it helps you love yourself. It helps you appreciate yourself, because there's a way that when you gain knowledge and you're able to use this knowledge and reap the fruits of that particular knowledge, there's a way that you feel. It increases your feel-good hormones. So all these things are just simple ways. Delay your reaction. It's not everything that you must react to. Move from a place of reacting to responding. When you're responding, people might think that, you are just, in quote, a swagbear. Or people will just take you for a ride. But like I said, you need a personal peace plan. No, it's not every situation you need to engage in. What is more important for you? Is it your peace of mind or to be right? You don't always have to be right. At least within you, you know what is true. If that person, there's some people that you cannot convince them for anything. Just leave them. There's something we call locus of control when we're teaching people emotional intelligence. And that is, what is some of those things I can control? What is it that I can't control? All right. There's a whole lot to say, but let me just skip to. If there's one thing that I want you to take, is that you cannot control what happens around you. You can only influence the things that you do. You can only influence what happens around you. All right, you can only influence what happens around you. So, life challenges will come, but your peace of mind is most important. Now, when we look at the Proverbs 31 woman, we think it's a woman that has everything sorted out. This woman has strategy. Because there's a part that says that she feeds, she provides food for her handmaids. It means she has people working for her. She considers a field, she buys it. That is not, you don't just go and buy a field in one day. You have to be strategic. So, strategy can come from the place of calm. Ask your neighbor, what is that thing that is stressing you? Shrink it to a ball and poof. Okay, so now we are going to think about one thing that has stressed you this week. Because that thing cannot be stronger than you. It's just a part of you. It's not the entirety of you. God forbid, if anything happens to you now, we don't want that though. People, you are too special to live. Please look at your neighbor. You are too precious to live now. We need you hale and hearty. We need you strong, please, That thing that has worried you, we can see. Sometimes it just means talking to somebody, and somebody can even just show you another way. Don't allow all these things way. It's before that I used to be secretive. But what's the point of being secretive and killing yourself? Killing yourself with stress, with worry. Talk to people. God will help us. That's so. Pastor Fumi, God will strengthen you in Jesus' name. I pray for every one of us that for anyone that still has a burden or the heaviness that makes you cry at night, that silent tears that you shed, that it feels like you can't talk to anybody. Let the Spirit of God move and breathe life into you in Jesus' name. I pray for strength. Oh, Father, strengthen your daughters, Lord. Lord, beyond what I have taught, Lord, finish the work. Let my words just be the tip of the iceberg to what your Spirit would accomplish in them in the name of Jesus. Holy Spirit, Lord, you know why you want your daughters to be whole, mentally, emotionally. Lord, they are your children. They cry to you. You know their secret pain. You know their worry. He says that his burden is easy. Peace. Oh God, let your peace rest on their hearts, Lord. Let your peace rest on their hearts. I just want you to close your eyes. Now, when we talk about meditation, this is how you meditate as a Christian, by thinking about the promises that have been said in His Word. Because when you think about them, it becomes real to you. I just want you to close your eyes now. And think about how it will be when you have your Father God by your side. The same God that you have read about in the Bible is still the same God that we serve. And He is worthy to save. He is more than sufficient for you. There is nothing too difficult that He cannot do. Lord, let your peace touch your hearts, Lord. Soothe those heavy hearts. Heavy hearts. I break every spirit of heaviness into the atmosphere. Anything. As you go home, I speak over your homes, that you will feel the Spirit of God with you. That you will remember that God is with you and in you and is helping you. Atmospheres that have represented heaviness to you, they are broken in the name of Jesus. Oh Lord, we
peace. Peace upon your children, Lord. Peace upon your children, Lord. We're going to breathe. We're going to do our breathing. And I want you to let deep breathing be a habit that you can practice. Sometimes doing deep breathing in conjunction with moving our bodies, we can also find it quite relaxing. But I'm just going to teach us the regular one for a case, especially in a case where we cannot go to a secluded place and people are wondering what's going on here. So when you are breathing properly, the best way to do it is when you are most relaxed, and you have to get yourself into that relaxed state while your feet on the ground. All right. In the best ideal situation, your bare feet touch the floor, because it tells your brain that, oh, I'm in this present moment. It's on the ground. It's on the ground. All right. So we breathe from our stomach. You can put one hand on your stomach so that you can feel as you're filling it up. And then you breathe from your nostrils out. Off. If you want it to be more effective, sometimes, well, some people breathe from their mouth out, but I prefer breathing from nostrils, and I prefer breathing in from our mouth. So we can do any one. Okay, let's just do our nose, but making sure that the most important thing is where we're filling up. So breathe in. Make sure your whole body is engaged, your core, you will feel it. And as you're breathing in, your stomach goes in. It feels like it's going in. And out. So as you breathe in, you're taking in air, you're filling up. All right, you're taking the air, you're filling up, and then you exhale, and then it reduces. Sorry. So breathe in. So as you breathe in, you can also suck in your belly. Suck in your belly, and then breathe out. Release it in your most natural, calm state. Let's practice that regularly, please. Thank you so
much. Praise the Lord. Okay, we want to practice the breathing exercise. Okay, we'll go and do it at the beach. Let's sit down. Thank you. Thank you. Do we have questions before we bring her up? Do we have questions? I have actually. Yeah. So, can we go up? Yeah. We need another mic, please. So just like we did yesterday, you can either ask directly or you put it into writing. Wow, people are eager. Thank you for that session. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's entertain questions.
Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Well, I enjoyed that. Okay. Let me start from this. How do you heal from trauma? How?
How do you heal from trauma?
That one is deep. So it depends on the root. So it depends on the root cause of that trauma. So, for example,
So firstly, what's trauma for those that are wondering? Trauma is just anything that is stressful, very stressful event that becomes painful to think about in the long run. And depending on the root cause of the trauma, so if your trauma is as a result of parental hurt, your healing journey will be different from a person's trauma that came from either maybe sexual assault or grief. So it's not something that we would encourage self-help for, because it might get quite overwhelming. All right, it can be quite overwhelming. So the best advice is always to work with someone, a counselor, trained counselor, therapist. It's always the best. All right, but in a case where a person uh, might not be able to talk to any of this person or any of these people I've mentioned, it would now, the question would now be, okay, what level of resilience have you acquired that we can use, or maybe you can use to help you? So like I said, is the knowledge. I don't want to say something that cannot be implemented. Do you understand? Trauma is always deep. You always need to work with someone. You always need to work with someone to get to the root cause. The simple way, so depending on the kind of trauma, that is why there's no blanket answer for it. But depending on the trauma, so the pattern is we deal with the root cause. After dealing with the root cause, we have to now reframe the thoughts and break the patterns, because it's from reframing the thoughts that that issue has put in your mind, because trauma sends a signal to your brain, and your brain is processing that particular trauma, that particular pattern or whatever information. So that is the way we'll break trauma. All right, so many times you have to work with someone.
Okay, can we have another question?
Thank you very much. My question is, how can one overcome seeing or thinking about someone and fear will grip your heart?
Okay, so I think the first thing I will ask you is, what's the person now that when you think of or see, what kind of information is it giving you? So yes, there's the fear, which is the general information that you get, but is it that this person is telling you that, oh, maybe you cannot do it, or you are not good enough? Many times, what makes us fearful about situations is also the way we process that situation. So now let me use this very practical example. So for me, when I was growing up, if you can insult me with anything, but if you insult me with my teeth, it would pain me, because I know that I struggle with it. So I don't like it. And then it's touching on my insecurity. All right. So why is this person able to put that fear in you? Is it touching on something that you believe is real or true? Or is it something that you want to totally let go of, but they are not helping you? So when you're able to do that, you now have to reprogram the information. Like I said, everything is information. Reprogram the information. Okay, I feel more tense when I'm in this person. It's that they make me feel small. There's a particular person that I used to feel that way, and when I noticed that, okay, it was more because they felt that maybe whatever I did wasn't good, or I always felt that they wanted me to be perfect, and I can't be perfect. So I just had to tell myself, okay, I can't be perfect, and I can't please this person. You tell yourself, I can't please this person. Who is this? Does this person own my life? No. So, like I said, you have to be good and resilient enough to believe the self-talk that you do, because if you don't believe it, then it's not going to work. So when you're able to do that self-talk, okay, this person doesn't own me. This person's perception and this way that they make me feel, is this the truth? If it's something that you're dealing with, then work on that thing, so that that way you're able to work on the feeling that it's producing. So when you address that underlying cause, then you're able to find a better solution. And then also something else you can do, whenever you see them, think about, okay, what's plan, or what personal peace plan can I use in this situation? For me, this particular person, I made sure that I would count to 4 in my mind before I respond to the person, because the person was a bit impulsive, and a person would come with this kind of, oh, this, why did you not? It was always accusatory to me. And so I said, I can't be living in this stress. So I cannot control what this person will say or do to me, but I can control how I will respond. All right. So I will count 1 to 4 in my mind first before I would talk to them. And I would focus more on the facts than them or than the other things that they were looking at. So I don't know if that was helpful.
Okay, so I want to share an experience in relation to that and then ask my question. Okay, so while we're growing, I have some of my siblings in the house, and my mom is also here. My dad is a disciplinarian, as in, now, our African parents. So his presence alone is fear. So we don't like being around him because it's more like anytime he's around or anytime you're around him, there is nothing you do that. I'm able to say this now because now is a different ball game now, in fact. But I just want to share the experience. So it was so bad to a point that my elder brother and I, we used to pray a prayer that at first we'll pray that God should just, yes, it was that bad. So as we grow, we get the understanding, and then the prayer change to, okay, let him just get a contract or a job that will take him out of the country and never return. But let him just be sending money to mommy so mommy can be taking good care of us. You understand? But as I speak now, in fact, some of us were in the house yesterday. You won't believe that it's the same man that I talked about while growing up. So what if there is a child in this house? Because at least, what peace plan do you want to craft around your own father? It could even be your husband. Some women are married to a man that his presence alone, you'll be wondering, do you understand? So what if it's such a situation?
Okay. I want to say this, but I don't know if I should say it. So there's this saying that, in a particular group, they'll say, God, give me the grace to accept the things I cannot accept and blah, blah, blah. And wisdom to know the difference. So now, I was going to talk about locus of control. There's a circle, and that circle deals with, there are some things that are within your influence, some things you can control, and there are some things you can't control, all right? How you interact with that knowledge and what you do with that knowledge would make a difference in your action or reaction to people. One thing you can't control, people's attitude, people's behavior, how they will treat you, how they will think about you, if they like you, all those things you can't control. What you can control, your own actions, your perception, how you think about it. So, I want to believe that the child you're asking about maybe is more of an older child. Because if it's for a smaller child, maybe for children that are in abusive homes, the best course of action is usually to remove them from that environment. That's actually supposed to be it. That's the welfare plan for that. But because we're in a unique country and we have like maybe under 13 in very traumatic situation where the government will not see that, okay, as far as you're not being molested, you can still manage. If it's mental abuse, it's just there are disciplines for your own good. You don't even want to know. One of the things we encourage them is visualization. They have to know that, number one, you're not going to be in that situation forever. And so you have to also be able to detach from that environment mentally. So that, and one of the things that we tell children is you will not be small forever. You would grow and you would make better choices. You would be a blessing to your society. So see that. And many times it helps them to, focus on their academics because that's the reality that they face. They can't do anything about that. So they zone out from that situation mentally. And one way you can constantly zone out is to have positive images or positive places that you can go to that makes you feel happy. That is one. If it was for an older child that maybe you are like in your 20s and somehow you've left your parents' house, but the thoughts of what they did to you is still weighing you down. One of the things that we usually do, or that I might start with, is to trace, okay, now, in as much as you have every right to be angry with this person, let us now look at the situation that might have caused this. So many times we now trace the wiring that that person might have had, because it takes a broken person to make another one. And many times, parents, parents many times do not do things deliberately. They do things based on the knowledge that they have. So at that point, empathy as a skill now comes into play. So we grow that person in empathic knowledge to understand that this person reacted to you and parented you based on the knowledge that they had. And so at that point, anger usually turns into compassion. I've had cases where by the time this one was 17, by the time the child was able to tell me things, okay, this was how my own daddy's daddy behaved to him. So I said, if this was how your daddy's daddy behaved to him, where do you think he could have gotten the information to do better? So now do you see that you know more than this person? I mean, when you become an adult, you are responsible for your actions, yeah, but many times we only reflect what we know. You can't know what you don't know. If you don't know something is dangerous, you don't know. So when we help the child to see, this is why this thing might have happened. We are not excusing the behavior. We wish this person might have done better. But for the sake of that person, because we want to detach them from the experience, we separate them from that thing, knowing that, okay, it was not deliberate. This was this person's wiring. And so they parented or they behaved to me from ignorance. At that point, that is where forgiveness flows from.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So can we have the next question?
Okay, thank you, ma. You mentioned when someone starts to isolate themselves, we should just pay attention to them. So when a person tells you, how do you handle a case of depression? This person is going through depression, and then they tell you, please leave me alone. I want to be all by myself. I want to just leave me alone for the time being and all that. And then you keep a track on them, you check up on them and all that, and they still insist, just leave me alone. So how do you go about that?
Okay. So if it's in a case where, the person has not been clinically diagnosed of severe depression and stuff, we're still just suspecting that this person has withdrawn and all that. One of the best things that you can do for them is just to show them kindness. Don't try to fix, because if you try to fix the situation, the more you'll be met with resistance. In their brain, they're like, you can never understand. And when a person tells you you don't understand, tell them honestly, I don't understand what it feels like. Because the last thing you want to do is to get them angry and get them to shut you out. If they shut you out, you've lost. They say, okay, it's okay, I don't need to understand it, but how can you help me understand? Or sometimes, just do something for them that maybe ordinarily they would have done before, so you can maybe, if it's to get them food, you get them food. If it's to sit with them, okay, I'm going to watch this movie. You don't need to come around, but I'll be in this space. You can come around if you want. So just offer them kindness, all right? Just be kind to them. But if you see that that is not helping them, then we might need to go to more extreme measures of getting them like external help. And in many cases, you are able to tell when this person is at that critical stage that they can't do anything. So there's a particular case I was called to de-escalate the situation, because from the whole depression, we just saw that this person was aloof. So aloof, looking at you but not really looking at you. At that point, this person is not themselves. You can't leave them alone, or you can't. You have to get them help. And what happened? That thing had stayed for too long, and so the person just started working. All right, it was still with the senses, but the thoughts were very irrational. So many people don't know that depression can also get you to a point where you are acting insane, or severe clinical depression can. And this person left the house without slippers, without anything. And she was just holding on to those thoughts, and eventually we now had to start de-escalating the situation. So in that case, you would know that this person is no longer a case of kindness, where you look at them, but the person you're looking at is not the person that is there. They will be, so you can tell from the eyes, all right. The eyes can be looking at you, but you can tell that eyes that is not fixed on you. It's aloof. It's like lifeless. So at that case, get external help. That's the best thing you can do. But in other cases, the gentle kindness, gentle trying to ease them back into things would help them, and just sending them encouraging words. But don't try to be too pushy. That will help.
Okay, let's have the next question. Wow.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Thanks for this section. Okay, so I want to ask this question about myself. I live with a special needs child. So, and all of that, sometimes when I look at it, it makes my life to be like on a pause. Because like there are so many things that I want to do, things that I was doing for myself before, that now I have to concentrate on this child. And most time I don't even have help around me. I have to stop so many things. So sometimes I find myself talking to myself. Sometimes when I enter the room to pick something, I can stay for hours, for 10 minutes. I don't know what I've come to pick. Sometimes I look for my phone several times. This is why I kept this phone. I don't know where I put it again. So, but like the other time you said that whatever is troubling us, we should just like press it, throw it away. So in this special needs child now, how do I handle? How do I throw it? Because this is something that I try. I thank God for the improvements since I came here. There have been so many interventions, but on my own part, how do I work on that? Because it's something that is tearing on me, something that I cannot throw away. How do I handle it? Thank you.
Okay, so when we talk about, or when I spoke about throwing something away, all right. Now the reality is there are many. In fact, you can hardly throw away the situation because the situation will still be there. It is how we are thinking about it that we are rephrasing and that we are rewiring. All right. Now having a special needs child is a unique position to be in. All right, it's a unique position, and I know that people around you might appear to be, oh, these people, they might appear to be understanding of your situation, but you would know how it feels. And so even while they might offer you encouragement and stuff, they are not in your reality. They are not in your shoes. You are the only one that knows how it feels. In this case, this is where faith, the knowledge of the fact that we are in this world for a reason, and there are so many things that we didn't choose, we didn't make. There are so many things we cannot explain. That's the truth. We can't explain certain things. But God is still with us and He's able to guide us. So one of the best things that helps in a case where psychology or nothing, we know that this will not help. Even if I do all the talk therapy, is how you process this that would matter. And the situation is still there. Is to get you back to understanding that God has put you on this place. And if He has put that child is with you, we don't know why that might have happened. But Lord, whatever it is that you can help me do it in a good way. Strengthen me. Lord, strengthen me. Replenish my strength. All right? Because this is somebody that depends on you 100%. And the place of prayer and hope and trust in God cannot be overemphasized when it comes to actually replenishing our strength. All right? There are certain things we will not see immediate results, but trusting and praying to God gives us a sense of relief. So at those days when you feel overwhelmed, just speak to Him. Lord, help me. I don't know what to do in this case. I'm feeling overwhelmed. Tell Him the way that thought is coming to your head. Lord, I feel like hitting this person's head. Lord, I'm tired. I'm tired. That is the person you can be most vulnerable to. Because if you're talking to other people, they will say, don't say that. Mm-mm. But you want to be able to express yourself. The Bible says that we have a high priest who is able to understand our infirmities. He understands it. So many things we can't explain, but He knows. And every one of us, we are on this earth because God knows us. So God knows your child. God knows you. All right. You might think that, nobody's seeing you, but He knows you. He sees you. And He will still be there with you both. He'll still be there with you both. And you will see that there are some things that it might look like it's not working, but He's with you. Even some things that might seem that you have stopped. ask God, okay, what other thing can I be doing in this case? Why we might not be able to do something traditionally, some other windows and opportunities, we can still take advantage of that. But He will show us every situation is unique, all right. Eventually, I do hope that you're able to also have one-on-ones, because there's also a place for I won't call it grief, but there's a special kind of counseling that is being done for parents or special needs. It's different. This blanket answer will not solve it. So there is the wiring that that person would help you through. All right. It won't change the situation, but it would help the way you view it. All right. So it is temporary. All right. Eventually, when we live here, the hope that we have from other people is that certain things that we experience here will be normal when we live here. That's the most powerful tool that we have, hope.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I guess just two questions, right? Two people? Okay.
Thank you very much for your session. So I have two questions. Number one, you talked about when someone cries too much, that it's a pointer to the emotion. I'm a kind of person, small thing, I'm crying. And sometimes it makes me feel better when I cry, I feel lighter. Then secondly, if you've experienced something and each time you remember that experience, it's like you're sleeping but you're awake. Like you could sleep for like 3 hours and you just wake up, it feels like, oh, I just slept for 30 minutes. The sleep, your head, your mind is talking to you. Or sometimes you sleep and like the situation is waking you up, like wake up, wake up, wake up, and you just react. I would like to know, how can I be better? Or what do I need to do? Thank you.
Okay. So which one do you want? To deal with the issue or to sleep better? Okay, let me tell you for the two. All right. So we'll still have to deal with that issue, no doubt, because it might be that the issue is the trigger, and it is that precipitating factor for why it seems like you sleep but you are not rested. All right. But so for sleeping, for people that find it hard to sleep, one of the things that we encourage them to do is to have a form of shutting down ritual that they do and ensure that they stick to it. So, for example, even something as simple as going to your bed at the same time every day is actually very powerful. There's something we call circadian rhythm, and that is your body's internal alarm to fall asleep and to wake up at the same time. Back then when we didn't have clocks and all that, how is it that the people before us will sleep at certain times, wake up at certain times, and they use the dawn, the break of the sunlight and all that? Your body is programmed for certain things, all right? If you tell yourself, and if you make it a habit to go to bed at the same time every night, eventually you will train your body to desire sleep at that time. And also, by going to bed at that time, it means that you are also shutting down activities that will alert you. So what are some of the things that will keep you alert? Your phone, blue light, keeps you alert. A dark room is ideal for sleeping. All right. I know some people sleep with lights, but it's not recommended in medical settings. It's not recommended because there is the sleep hormone, which is melatonin, that comes out when there is a dark room. So that's why it's best to sleep in a dark room where you have that hormone take over. All right. So just to help you sleep well, you can exercise. So if you exercise in the morning, you can exercise in the evening period, so that we are trying to send a signal to your brain, okay, get your body fagged out, all right? You do your exercise, and then maybe you can take a bath, and you can do your deep breathing as you're on your bed, and then visualize yourself in a very relaxed and calm state. Your phone should not be anywhere near you, or the sound. You don't want that sound, all right? So that is a quick fix. It's not something that you want to do for a long time. It's just a quick fix. Now, moving to the situation that is the sustainable one. So, what is it that is making your mind race and not sleep? What is that worry Okay, one of the things that you want to do is to find out this thing that is getting me worried. What is it that I'm worried about? Or if you had had, you know, a previous experience. Now, some of the experiences that prevents us from doing certain things in the now happened a long time ago. And we might think that I don't feel or it doesn't affect me anymore. But the subconscious is a very powerful place because what it is telling your brain, okay, this is so let me explain this thing called patterns. Think about a library. A library has a cataloging system where if I go to a standard library and I want to find out if a particular book is there, I will go to their catalog that is labeled A to D and I can check for that name of the book. If it's available in that book, it will be in the catalog. It's the same way with your brain. Our brain is meant to run with patterns. So, for example, something happens now. Let's say you had a friend right now that you loved or was somebody close to you, and somehow they broke your heart. They made you feel somehow. What happens is your brain will process that heavily than somebody else who has not experienced that before, because your brain will search through what is existing here in my brain. How do I know to respond to this particular thing? And it will give you the most perfect or ideal response that is already existing in your mind. That is what will happen. So, if there is something that you have experienced that you haven't dealt with, then it will be a good time for you to go back to that thing and deal with it. Okay, this happened at this particular time. Why did this happen? How did that make me feel? What were other things around? Okay, so when you're able to, like I said, the past is really powerful. And the brain, everything, interpretation. So a signal, interpretation, pattern, that is how we work. All right, so we want to break that cycle and interrupt that pattern. You want to now replace that with another thought. Because if you're having racing thoughts, you cannot stop thinking about it. You cannot stop a thought by merely stopping that thought. You want to replace that thought with a more powerful and higher thought. And the question will now be, what is the most empowering thought that you can use? All right, so that is one way. But if you're zoning out and you maybe your mind is racing in a gathering, this one is quick fix again. A good way you can use to get yourself back. So sometimes I have rubber bands that I just snap. Especially if I zone out or I'm overthinking. I snap myself. It's quick fix, but it brings me back to the now. Or it brings me back to the moment. So that's another quick fix way. I don't know if that was helpful in any way. Okay.
And I think that will be the last one, right? Before I read out this. Okay.
Okay, thank you for this section. Shall actually ask my first question. But what I want to add to this is you talked about talking to people. So in my own scenario, I don't talk to people about what I'm passing through. So that made me develop myself that I had to create this thing I said, selective forgetfulness. So no matter how traumatized I feel, I just go to the mirror and talk to myself that I want to forget this thing. Most of the time, I've seen that it works for me. The way I saw that this worked for me was I eventually met somebody that caused the trauma with me. So I told her, so she was like, did you remember this thing? I was like, I didn't remember anything like this. She asked again, look. I said, I can't remember anything. And honestly, I can't remember. It has happened a couple of times. So I want to ask, is this selectiveness really good to continue with? Or is it something that can still come back if something related to that scenario happens?
You have Kuku answered the question.
No,
So,
sometimes I just, that
Yeah.
selective forgetfulness, I categorize like
So,
that.
I mean, you have answered the question by the next thing you said, which is this something that can come back based on another situation that, mimics
Trigger
it? Right. So, your selective forgetfulness is what we call selective amnesia, and it's a protective mechanism of the body. It usually happens with children, or we see that a lot with children, and also in very traumatic incidents. So, for example, if a person were to have like a high impact accident, many times the person would faint. That is one of the 5 trauma response. Faint. Person is going to faint, and the person will not remember many of the things that would happen that period. So in this case, what you are doing now, that thing that's supposed to be a protective mechanism, you are stimulating it to use in situations. So yes, the tendency for that particular thing to come up again when there is a trigger. All right. So trigger is something that can mimic the exact stimulus that caused that event. So when there is a trigger, the tendency for that thing to come up is high. The question would now be, what would you do? Because in that moment, your brain is going to react in the most natural way it feels to. So depending on how your brain has now come to process trauma now as an adult, your brain would react, will respond that way. So what can you do about that? Is to understand that number one, people are not perfect and people would hurt you. And is to also detach, do a lot of detachment from people's actions. Many times their actions are just a result of the limited knowledge that they have. People act on ignorance. Rarely, except somebody is really wicked and dark, rarely do you find somebody wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to hurt this person, except the person is a witch, all right? But in a normal world, in a normal society, rarely do you find somebody just wake up in the morning and all they are preoccupied about is how they are going to hurt you. Many times those things is as a way of their reasoning, their faulty thinking. They feel, well, I'm supreme. And it's flawed. But that's why we have to keep being light and showing love to the world. Eventually, those things, so as the more we become light, the more those things can change other people. But like I said, for you, you practice detachment. Detach yourself from whatever it is that a person does and process that thing and realize, okay, well, that's really them. This does not define me. I'm different for that. So there's something we call self-concept. The self-perception that you have about yourself has to be really positive in such a way that nothing shakes you. You need to know that people's perception of you is what it is. Their perception is not your worldview. People relate to you based on their worldview. So that's just the best way that you can protect yourself. Those are the only thing that is within your locus of control. How you think, how you respond, how you process situation. I don't know what somebody would think about me. Somebody can look at me and say, well, I don't like this person. And if I allow that to cripple me down, to weigh me down, I won't be able to go anywhere. So you know that is what it is. People are limited in their thoughts, and that's just about it. Many times it's nothing personal.
Okay, so that answer just gave a response to the first question I have here, which says, how can I fight against hurtful words getting to me? So that's the answer. So we won't go through that again. Then this says, how can I come out of a phase where I am unexcited about anything? There is no motivation for more. Everything gets everything gets you irritated. Sorry, ma'am. Please, for the two authors of this, I would like you to see me personally.
Yes, please, I beg you, if you're the person that wrote the second one, you should see her because if you're saying, so my question is, you say, how do you come out of a phase? So the question is this how it has always been, or is this something that started suddenly? The answer to the two questions I have posed would determine the best course of actions for us to explore. So in a case where something just started suddenly, all right, you used to be happy, but somehow you just found yourself in a phase, no motivation, nothing. It can be more of, okay, maybe your hormones responsible for feeling good, happiness, excitement is low. Your serotonin might be low and all that. But we can't say just based on what you have said. It's a holistic thing we need to find out. Okay, is there something that we can do that if we do this, is that going to improve? So for now, one of the things that you can try to do is try to do some of those exercises I listed that is capable of increasing your hormones that deal with excitement. So activity that would get you happy and pumped up when you do something. So you can do a small task and let it be a task that you can actually succeed on. Do a small task. Notice how did you feel after that. If you didn't feel happy, that's the natural response that we expect from that is that you're supposed to be happy and excited. When you do that, it boosts your motivation. If you didn't feel happy, it means that, okay, it's telling us something else, all right? And if it's not something that was sudden, if it's something that has always been there from when you were small, it might mean that this is, in quotes, might be something genetic, all right? But like I said, where psychology and where medicine stop is where God just begins. So I know that the joy of the Lord is available in you. So if it's something that you have noticed as a pattern since you were small, it's not a phase that just started, then go to your closet and engage with God's Spirit within you. Oh, I have joy on my inside. So this is where things like affirmation now comes in. Affirmation has a place, but many people do affirmation wrongly. Affirmation is not just about saying positive words, but it is about actually believing those things. It's not just mere words, it is words that you want to be your reality and can be your reality, and you say them despite what you see. So, saying something can make you feel like it. All right, so depending on which of the two scenarios will determine the course of action, but please do see her.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. It's been an impactful session, right? Yes, please give it up. Give it up. Thank you. All right, so on a final note, thank you. You would agree with me that despite everything we have said, there is still somebody seated here that has lots of burden and question that is not saying anything. And is also afraid because times down about you have said, seek help, seek help. We wouldn't blame such a person because sometimes we've actually trusted the wrong set of people. So we've spoken to third parties that we feel they should be able to handle some situations like, but they have turned it out to be, you understand what I'm trying to say, right? So what would you say to such a person that is now in the state of being afraid to seek help?
So, I think one thing I'll ask that person or tell you is that we have like over 7 billion people in this world, and you've not even gotten to half of the people in this world. So, that some people that you have spoken to were bad doesn't make everyone bad. All right. And then talking about speaking to somebody. Now, talking to somebody many times, we're saying talk to a trained person because if you talk to somebody that is not capable of processing and helping you manage these emotions, they will just treat it anyhow and they would, spoil the trust that you give to them. So you want to talk to a trained person. Now, I know that people will say therapy is expensive, but it's not, there are very affordable options that are available, very affordable options. And then there are some, I think there are some clinics that would offer free counseling. I know that there are some places where you just, I don't have them over the top of my head, but maybe I can share a list with you on some places. Yes, some places where you can get free help, affordable care. I know that there's one, She Writes Woman, where it's a toll-free line where you can call for free and talk to receive counseling, or you just receive that help online. All right, but please be mindful of who you talk to. Some people you talk to will use what you say against you. You don't want that. You don't want that.
Thank you so much. So on this note, we have brought May 2026, day 2, first session, day 2, to a close. Can we give a resounding round of applause for Mrs. Joy Essen? Please, let's take pictures. Can we take pictures?